Do we have a picture? What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So yesterday was the first day of the RNC, and we opened it with some good old-fashioned identity politics. Now, interesting strategy. I don't think it was a great one, but we're going to be taking a look at a couple of clips. We got, well, I'm just going to start off by talking about Tim Scott. I think Tim Scott, South Carolina, I think he did a really good job last night. His speech was unique because rather than trying to really associate himself with Trump, I think he wisely, or whoever, you know, was kind of, he seems like he's being positioned. You know what I mean? Like, his speech was more of, he talked about values, he talked about ideas, he talked about his own personal record, policies that he had created. He talked about Joe Biden's failures. And then instead of, you know, focusing on trying to pump up his relationship with Trump or anything like that, he said, this is the legislation we worked on, but this is Joe Biden's failure. And then this is where Trump came and cleaned that up. So I think that was a really good speech. And unfortunately, they don't have many more Tim Scotts. So, but yeah, he did a solid job. I'm not going to play his speech, but feel free to check it out. It was a really good speech. If you're not familiar with him, it's a good opportunity to get to know him. But they started the night off with Vernon Jones. And now Vernon Jones is a little bit different. He's no Tim Scott. And I want to kind of get you guys familiar with who he is, because if you didn't know who he was, because I really wasn't familiar, but he's a guy from Georgia. He's most notably, I think I saw a title that said something like Democrat, or what is it? What did they say? Former Democrat rips leftist ideals, or some nonsense, but some sensationalized title that we don't need. But yeah, he's allegedly a Democrat, but based on what I've researched, he's just a guy. So let's check his speech. I'm only going to play the first minute of it. I'm not going to, you'll kind of see where it's going after just a moment. You got volume. Okay. Wait a minute. Is it moving? Okay, maybe. Okay, there it is. Come on, AT&T. What's up? All right. I don't know if that. Okay, that's not gonna work. Give me 1 second. But yeah, this is, like I said, this is a failed. I think they should. This is a waste of time. I think if you're trying to position Tim Scott and these other characters, I'm fine with that. But now is not really the time to kind of waste them if you go into a potential failed election. Trump's not getting the black vote. It's a 9-1. That's just regular. You know what I mean? 9 out of 10 new voters are Democrats. So you're not really winning over any new hearts and minds, but you do risk alienating the base. And Trump really cannot afford to do that. So we got the clip. Here we go.
Hello, America. My name is Vernon Jones, and I'm a state representative from the great state of Georgia. As you can see, I'm a man of color, and I'm a lifelong Democrat, too. You may be wondering, why is a lifelong Democrat speaking at the Republican National Convention? And that's a fair question, and here's your answer. The Democratic Party does not want black people to leave their mental plantation. We've been forced to be there for decades and generations. But I have news for Joe Biden. We are free. We are free people with free minds. And I'm part of a large and growing segment of the black community who are independent thinkers, and we believe that Donald Trump is the president that America needs to lead us forward. This is no time for sleeping in the basement. Joe Biden has had 47 years to produce results, but he's been all talk and no action, just like so many of the Democrats who've been making promises to the black voters for decades. We've been their captive audience. When President Trump sought to earn the black vote, the Democratic Party leaders went crazy. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer literally started wearing kente cloths around the U.S. Capitol, as if pandering were enough to keep us satisfied. Let me tell you why I'm supporting our president. I grew up in the South, in Laurel Hill, North Carolina.
Okay, that's all you really need to hear. You know where this is going from this point. Now he's going to go into his diatribe about who I am, where I come from. I was exceptional. I did this. I worked hard. Yada yada yada. But who is Vernon Jones? Now, do you know? Do you know who he is? Because again, I didn't know who this man was. They're gonna. Okay. I did a little bit of research. I had to find out where this guy came from, and like I said, it's kind of a risky play to kind of trot this guy out here because even though he is a Democrat, he has always had conservative views, and that's fine. You can be conservative, whatever. But who are you trying to influence? Do you think Democrats are watching the Republican National Convention thinking, oh, maybe I'll vote for this guy? Or you're just reaffirming the ideas of the people who are already familiar with him? Or are you making those people who are familiar with him concerned as to why he would even be at this event? Now, this guy's been on the rounds. He's been out here doing quite a bit of he's trying to get back in the door. He's in the House right now, and his term's coming to an end. He's trying to figure out what he's going to do for his next move. So he's just looking for opportunity. He seems to be an opportunist. But in the well-heeled suburbs of the county Jones once led, Jones is loathed, considered the avatar of urban corruption and political malfeasance. And those suburban relatively affluent Republicans are the ones that the party has been hemorrhaging. Now, this guy had a discrimination lawsuit that cost his city like $2.5 million. You don't know about that, right? They didn't talk about that. They didn't throw that up there. Why would you pick this guy? What? In DeKalb County, it has 50,000 regular Republican voters. Trump won Georgia in 2016 by about 210,000 votes. So people who are familiar with him are definitely aware of his record. The Republican enclave of Dunwoody in DeKalb's northern third so detested the regular reports of corruption and Jones's race-baiting response to criticism that they formed a new municipality in 2008, the city of Dunwoody, in order to minimize their contact with the county government. His increasing appearances in national politics began a couple of years ago when he spoke at the NRA convention in Atlanta. Since then, it's become increasingly apparent that he's burned all bridges left at the local level and is trying to find some purchase in the national conversation. So let's talk about his discrimination lawsuit. Like I said, I just want you to know who he is. I'm not going to get crazy off into it, but man, a federal court on Thursday, this is from 2012, awarded two former DeKalb County Parks employees $185,000 in damages in a long-running racial discrimination case against the county. The decision came after 7 days of testimony before a jury of 6, 5 white, 1 black, a case filed by 4 plaintiffs who claimed Jones, DeKalb County's first black CEO, elected in 2000, orchestrated a scheme to replace 3 top white managers in the Parks Department with blacks. This case has been long and costly, with DeKalb County spending more than $2.5 million in attorney fees for its defense. So you brought a racist to the Republican National Convention. What you doing, bro? Not a wise strategy. Hopefully this doesn't, they don't do research, so it probably won't come up. But I'm just curious as to why you thought this was the guy you wanted to trot out there. Like I said, Tim Scott, he killed it. He ain't got no. He needs to work on his personality, but I think he's got a future. But let's talk about the big moment of the night, or the real highlight. Hershel Walker, former NFL great, Hall of Famer, I believe. He was brought out to do the thing that I didn't think they would be able to find anyone to do. Because yesterday I was thinking, man, they spent the entire DNC trying to convince everyone that Joe Biden's a nice guy. But when you talk about Donald Trump, you really don't find people who say that. Like, you don't find people who say, oh, he's such a nice guy, and, we've been friends for years. You don't really hear that. You hear, good savvy businessman, good promoter, he's that. But you can't really find character witnesses for him. So they brought out Hershel Walker. I can't think of the title that he has. He has some title in the administration where he's like I don't know. He's related to sports and fitness or something, like some kind of advisor in sports. I didn't even realize he was in the administration. But let's listen to his clip because he is offended by people who call Trump a racist. Let me get some volume for you. All right.
The worst one is racist. I take it as a personal insult that people would think I've had a 37-year friendship with a racist. People who think that don't know what they're talking about. Growing up in the Deep South, I've seen racism up close. I know what it is, and it isn't Donald Trump. Just because someone loves and respects the flag, our national anthem, and our country, doesn't mean they don't care about social justice.
My bad. I keep silencing my mic so you don't get that weird tinny sound. This was a horrible idea. Hershel Walker is not the person you want doing this. Now, if you're going to play identity politics, you're going to have to get somebody who's like well-respected, well-known, well-liked in the black community. Nobody checking for Hershel Walker. Not because of his ideas, but because who's Hershel Walker? What has he done? He has no resume. That's your guy. You can hear me now. You can hear me now. That's just your guy. That's fine. But just leave that alone. Stick to the character or stick to the accomplishments, but don't try to. He can't be the front man for this thing. But the irony in all of what he just said is he does two things that are. It enrages people. He does this thing where because Donald Trump or anybody, they love the flag, it means they are not racist or they're racist. Like, it's not about racism. That's not what the issue is. Just because someone loves and respects the flag, our national anthem in our country, it doesn't mean they don't care about social justice. No, that's not why he doesn't care about social justice. It's because for 48 hours since Wisconsin started burning, he hasn't said anything. That's why. It's not because he doesn't, because he likes the flag. Sure, I don't care if you like the flag. I don't care if you like I don't care if you like that. Has nothing to do with anything. That's a talking point. That is the default to avoid talking about the actual issue. It's like talking about the rioters instead of the reason the people are rioting. Like, let's not do that, or just leave it alone. Like, I'm okay with you saying, hey, a winning strategy is just to not talk about it. Don't talk about it and do this, because you're not bringing any new people. You're not winning over any hearts and minds with that type of strategy. But bad idea, bro. He shows how much he cares about social justice in the black community through his actions, and his actions speak louder than any stickers or slogans on a jersey. Horrible timing. If this aired a week ago, you might have been able to just get people to not notice, but this is like really glaring right now. This is just very, very, very bad timing for this particular message. And he shows how much he cares. This is a bad idea. That's all I'm saying. This is a bad idea because you're alienating your base. I think that I don't see the point of this. I don't see why this was a good idea. I don't see why you brought Hershel Walker out. I don't see why you brought Well, I know what you brought Vernon Jones out. You brought these people out because they're black. That's a bad idea. If you're a conservative and you have conservative ideas and people support you because of that, that's fine. You don't have to be black. I don't need you to be black. Black people don't need you to be black. Just be a conservative. That's cool. And if that's the case, you could just get a white conservative and I'll support them because they're a white conservative and I have conservative ideas, not because of the color of their skin, which is the opposite of the message you're trying to put out. I'm very confused by what your intentions are here. I mean, I know what your intentions are, but I'm confused by the play you're trying to run. It's not good. So is Hershel Walker an Uncle Tom? No, I would never call a black person Uncle Tom. That's horrible. But he doesn't have the juice in the black community to get anyone to change their minds. He's a guy who is friends with Trump. He benefits from his policies. He benefits from his relationship, and that's fine. You're always going to be able to find that one guy who has the job, and he's cool with looking at everybody else and saying, I'd love to help you, but I'm getting paid by this guy. I'll be intrigued to see if he can get Kanye West to come out there and make even a pre-recorded statement. I mean, not that he has any juice either, but at least it would be interesting, because Kanye, for the longest, has said openly that Trump is like his father, a father he never had. It's a good friend, and he supports him. And then he was running against him for a minute. So that would be interesting. If you want to try to get black people to turn their head, not the ones who are already supporting Trump, not the ones who are already conservative or Republicans. If you want to get some new people to look your way, get Kanye West to show up to the RNC and make a speech. I'll be watching. So with that said, if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe for more.